The mystery only seems to deepen.
Relisha Rudd was seen with Khalil Tatum.
Relisha Rudd has still not been found.
I've just been thinking about my daughter, where she could possibly be at.
Where do you think Relisha is right now?
I honestly can't answer that.
Do you think Relisha's alive?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Let me see. She loved to dance. Come on, Relisha, flex it. She had a mouth on her. Her mouth was sassy, but not too sassy.
Your daughter drew lots of pictures, as you can see, but Relisha did this.
She says, I love my mom.
It's a lot going on as far as missing Relisha.
The Relisha, I love you.
So people are asking the question, who failed Relisha? Who do you think failed Relisha? So what happened to Relisha Rudd? Good evening, I'm Jan Jeffcoat.
And I'm Derek McGinty. The 8-year-old girl was last seen March the 1st with Khalil Tatum, that janitor at the homeless shelter where she lived with her family.
Tatum was found dead in Kenilworth Park after taking his own life and any information he had about Relisha. We uncovered Tatum's criminal past before he was hired at the D.C. General Homeless Shelter, and now tonight. You're going to hear from Relisha's family, including her mother, all who say they trusted Khalil Tatum.
Now today, the police chief admitted that little girl may never, ever be found.
Bruce LaShan spoke with Chief Kathy Lanier.
Yeah, Jan and Derek, frustrating, depressing, tragic. The chief says they will keep looking for Relisha, but the sad reality is that we missed by a wide mark those first 3 hours that are critical when it comes to saving an abducted child.
Is it possible you may never find Relisha?
You know, I hate to say that. You know, we're going to continue looking, but it is possible. It is possible.
Chief Kathy Lanier says tips continue to come in, about 5 a day. People who knew Relisha's suspected abductor, Khalil Tatum, people who know the area. But none so far have led to the 8-year-old who lived in a homeless shelter and was last seen alive more than 1 month ago.
What really hurt us was not even becoming aware of her being missing until almost 3 full weeks after the last time she was seen.
Right.
That's a killer.
Also frustrating, fake tips and hoax Facebook sites, like this one of someone claiming to be Khalil Tatum and claiming Relisha is really his daughter.
How angry are you that people would be creating jokes about this missing 8-year-old kid?
Well, I mean, fortunately, we realized right away that this is not real and that somebody is doing it as a hoax.
But the chief discounted public suspicions that the janitor at the shelter might have been involved in child porn or child sex trafficking.
That is not something that we believe that he was heavily involved in.
Chief Lanier not convinced Relisha was sold into sex trafficking, but tonight Andrea McCarran talks to other activists who fear that she might have been.
If they're vulnerable, then they're at risk.
Relisha Rudd may be just 8 years old, but that's not too young for the world of sex trafficking.
There's kids as young as 5, 6, 7.
The average age of entry into this dark and devastating underworld is 13.
A child who's a victim of sex trafficking and sexual exploitation cannot go to school, is most likely not able to speak unless they're asked to speak. They can't even go to the bathroom without getting permission. They're probably having sex with 5 to 10 men a night.
And it's happening here in the nation's capital, where wealth and power are next-door neighbors to poverty and despair.
And a trip to McDonald's could mean the world to a child like Relisha.
Like many child trafficking victims, she says Relisha was vulnerable. Khalil Tatum, a skilled child predator.
He really seemed to know what he was doing and how to lure a child, buying gifts, making friends, even the trick of using another child to make Relisha feel safe and comfortable. Very common tactic.
We got to keep looking because that child still could be alive out there.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is assisting in the ongoing search for the little girl with a sweet smile and a lifetime ahead of her.
There's been such intense pressure to find this child. You would think now, even if someone had this child, that they would be willing to return her.
He says child sex trafficking is a larger problem than many imagine because it's no longer in the open. It's moved from the street corner, in many cases, to the internet.
The possibility of child sex trafficking is a possibility, but I think it's just one of the many possibilities that could be out there.
Considering the grisly alternatives, it may be the best option.
I hope that sex trafficking is what's going on, because that would mean that she has value to someone and they maybe wouldn't kill her.
Unfortunately, the man who could unlock this mystery took his secrets to the grave. In Washington, D.C. alone, the trafficking of children is a $100 million industry. Nationwide, 300,000 children are forced into prostitution and pornography every year. Andrea McCarran, WUSA 9.
Tonight we've got new information on how police handled Relisha's Amber Alert.
Investigative reporter Russ Potasic with the new document explaining just who the police told in those critical first hours.
We received a new timeline about 5 tonight from D.C.'s Deputy Mayor for Safety and Justice. It chronicles hour by hour, day by day, police broadcasting information to other states about D.C.'s Amber Alert for Relisha Rudd. But nowhere does it support the police department's original claim that Amber Alerts were issued anywhere but within district lines.
Come on, Relisha, flex it.
A stark contrast to a somber news conference March 27th, when for the first time the police chief acknowledged the Amber Alert she had claimed was issued from Pennsylvania to Delaware down to Florida was actually just an exchange of information about the Amber Alert activated only in D.C.
I only have the authority to issue in my own jurisdiction, but as soon as that Amber Alert is issued in the jurisdiction, we make a request through emergency management that Amber Alert that we issue here in D.C. be pushed out through MNET, which is an emergency management network, across the country.
Just 3 days earlier, the chief denied our findings that outside D.C., there were no Relisha Amber Alerts.
That's not true. I actually looked into that when I got that allegation. The Amber Alert was issued as far north as Pennsylvania and Delaware and as far south as Florida.
If that had only been true, TV stations across the East Coast would have been broadcasting Relisha's disappearance. But our investigation found the Amber Alert was only activated in the District of Columbia. And last month, except for D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, where stories had aired, when we checked our Gannett sister stations and CBS affiliates from Delaware and Pennsylvania to Florida, none had done a single story on Relisha Rudd, as they would had an Amber Alert actually been issued in their states. But that all changed March 27th. At our request, stations WUSA 9 contacted in every state agreed to run a story on Relisha Rudd. But that was 7 days after that D.C.-only Amber Alert was issued. The timeline issued tonight doesn't show police even notifying other states about Relisha until 2 days after the D.C. Amber Alert was sounded. It was several days later police released a key clue, surveillance video of Tatum taking Relisha Rudd into a D.C. motel room. The video is date-marked February 26th, shopping bags in the hands of 8-year-old Relisha Rudd as she walks down the motel room hallway with the now-dead suspect, Khalil Tatum. Family members say on that day, Tatum took her shopping, saying she needed a swimsuit for what he told them would be a swim party at this Holiday Inn Express on Bladensburg Road Northeast. A clerk says the motel does have an indoor pool. On that day, shortly before this surveillance video shows Khalil Tatum leading Relisha Rudd by the hand into that D.C. motel room, family members say he dropped by her aunt's home with Relisha. And when he found out she didn't have a swimsuit, he said he'd buy her one before going to that motel.
And as we mentioned, that was February 26th, just days before family members would lose track of who was taking care of Relisha.
And when her grandmother claims Tatum may have taken her to Atlanta. When was the last time you saw her?
Physically, the last time I saw her was when that video that was put on Instagram. Okay. That was filmed in here.
That was March 1st. Melissa Young says she called Tatum on March 12th to see if he could fix Relisha's tablet he bought for her.
I say, Mr. Tatum, have you talked to Relisha or do you have Relisha? His answer to me was no, he don't have her. So then he said, do you know where I am? And I'm like, yeah, you should be home getting ready to go out of town on your trip. This is when he was going to Atlanta, Georgia. So he was like, yeah, you're right, but I'm already in Atlanta, Georgia. He say, we're already in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm like, who? You, your wife, your daughter, and your granddaughter? That's when he says to me, no, me, my wife, Relisha, my granddaughter, and my daughter.
What were they doing there?
He went on some type of, he told me it was a retreat. I don't know. But he told Mika it was a medical thing or something.
Young says before she hung up, she told Tatum to bring Relisha home by Sunday the 16th for a birthday party, and then immediately called her daughter Shamika.
I say, Shamika, did you know your daughter was out of town with Mr. Tatum and his family? She says, when he asked me, can she go? I told him, no, don't take her. How do you know? I said, because I just called him.
Tatum never showed up that Sunday with Relisha, but Young claims Tatum called her the very next morning.
Before he fled, he was like, I took Relisha to school, and I'm looking at the calendar. I know what day it is, and I know school is closed.
Great interview, Jan, and we are really trying so hard to understand and imagine how anyone would let you just take your child, take your child away.
I know, it's so crazy, and as a mom to a little girl myself, it is just heartbreaking. So you might ask yourself, how long did the family and Relisha know Tatum, and why did they let him take her so many times? I'm a mom of a daughter. You have a daughter. You have a granddaughter.
I have 4 daughters.
So I know. So is it weird for you for like this man to be taking your granddaughter? I don't know did it make you feel uncomfortable that a man's taking your daughter somewhere?
It did, but then I looked at it because, like, me, myself, personally, I do the same thing. I take people's kids with me as well. I get permission from the parent.
Relisha Rudd and Khalil Tatum's relationship began in the D.C. General Homeless Shelter cafeteria. Relisha's mother and grandmother say the 8-year-old and her siblings used to wake up and head to cafeteria for breakfast.
If the parents is not with the kids when they go into the cafeteria, they're not going to feed them because, you know, a lot of times for breakfast the food is hot. So I understand that rule. But when Mr. Tatum saw that the kids wasn't getting breakfast, he took it upon himself to start feeding Shamika's 4 kids.
Melissa Young began to notice Tatum, the shelter janitor, hanging around Relisha. She asked her daughter Shamika who he was.
My daughter says, Mom, that's Mr. Tatum. You know, I say, but it's not going to look right for your daughter to go. She say, Mom, she go on to play with the granddaughter. It's fine. Every time my granddaughter comes back, she tell me, I had fun with Mr. Tatum's granddaughter. You know, I want to go back.
Melissa Young adds that all the attention Tatum was paying to Shamika's children was something the family had grown used to.
People just love Shamika kids. So it wasn't strange for us to see that somebody was doing something, you know, in their time of need.
And the more Tatum did, the more the family trusted him.
I've been around this man. Like, if he is getting off from work and he's coming down, going on his way home, and he see me walking, he will pick me up and give me a ride. So I have been in this man's car by myself, and I didn't get no uncomfortable feeling.
That's why she says they allowed Tatum to take Relisha, but she adds it was never supposed to be permanent.
Shamika never made no type of deals with him for her daughter. She never exchanged her daughter for nothing. She never sold her daughter to him.
And coming your way after the break, Jan's haunting conversation with Shamika Young, Relisha's mother. In the meantime, Relisha's story has moved us all, but we have to remember she's not the only victim. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says tens of thousands of kids have been taken by non-family members, including 8 who are 8 years old right now. Here are 3 of their photos, and we're going to show you more of them later on in our broadcast.
We know her mostly from a grainy video her parents posted to Facebook.
I get it, I go.
And from the haunting stills snapped by volunteers at the Homeless Children's Playtime Project.
That the Lord has made.
I just hope and pray every day that she come back home safe to her family.
Help us find our missing.
We know Relisha hated living in the shelter, and we know the city worried about her well-being at home for years. Workers at Relisha's old school say she sometimes turned up in filthy clothes, dirty hair, and an empty stomach.
She had a mouth on her, but not too of a mouth.
Her mother speaks of her in the past tense.
Her smiles, her giggles, her laughter.
That was Bruce LeShan. Now, we're going to talk about the person who most folks say should have been protecting Relisha the most, her mom. Shamika Young has not agreed to do a lot of media interviews.
In fact, she showed up to her sister's house where I was doing an interview with her mom, Melissa, late Monday night. We didn't even know she was coming, and you can see in this video, it was crowded inside the small apartment with 4 children, 3 running around in diapers. And it was apparent. It was an emotional reunion for Shamika, her mom and sister, who had not seen each other in a while. I want to make it clear there are many questions Shamika would not answer on camera. She knows she's under a cloud of suspicion. The U.S. attorney is investigating whether she misled police. Now, off camera, she told us she did not sell her daughter. And when it comes to why in the world she would let a man repeatedly take her daughter for days at a time, she told me she wouldn't answer any questions about Khalil Tatum. People are asking the question, who failed Relisha? Who do you think failed Relisha?
Honestly, I think it's more that the government could have did. I think the school failed her too.
Why is that?
Because if they would have came out with a name from the start, something could have been done from the start.
If they would have what? I'm sorry?
Came out with the name of a doctor, something could have been started. Instead of them approaching my significant other as, tell Miss Young her doctor's called and she's clear. He could have approached it another way, but he didn't.
Relisha's mother, Shamika Young, blames everyone but herself and Khalil Tatum, the man police say abducted her little girl, Relisha.
Did she ever stay with Mr. Tatum at his house?
Not that I know of.
Do you blame him at all in this?
I choose not to answer those questions.
Are you angry with Mr. Tatum?
I'm probably angry with everybody, the world, the media, everybody.
Why are you angry with the media?
They just switches my words up. They don't let me be heard. They don't let my voice be heard out there.
What do you want to say?
Honestly, I don't know what I want to say because I have so many mixed thoughts in my head. So I don't know what I want to say at this time.
It's not just the media, but social media that's questioned Young about why she allegedly lied to investigators, potentially delaying the search for her daughter. She denies she lied and tried to explain to me why she hasn't been at any of her daughter's vigils.
Love you, Relisha. I did want to support the walk and pray thing for my daughter, not once but twice, but I couldn't due to all the threats.
What kind of threats are you getting?
I was getting all types of threats. People saying they was going to kill me, shoot me, and what they going to do to me and what they not going to do to me.
Are you in hiding now?
No, not hiding. I don't have nothing to hide from.
Well, from people who say they want to kill you?
I ain't even got to hide from them because I walk these streets alone.
While Shamika couldn't remember the actual date she last saw Relisha, she remembers where it was.
Over here at my sister's house, I did her hair. I bought her some shoes, some Jordan flights, some 2013 Jordan flights.
And she revealed to me for the first time that her daughter often spent time away from the shelter with other family members where she said Tatum would pick up Relisha.
She didn't go missing from the shelter. It is a rule in the shelter that kids are not allowed to enter nor exit the facility without their parents. And I feel as though I should put that out.
Do you think Relisha's alive?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I always have strong hopes. You can't never let your hopes down. And God don't play with babies and food.
If she is alive, where do you think she could be?
I don't know.
And I want to add as well that she told me, as well as her mom and sister, that police told them they should get a lawyer very soon.
Well, as we mentioned to you earlier tonight, sadly, the Relisha Rudd story is far from unique. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says tens of thousands of kids have been taken by non-family members. Here are a few more of their photos.
Many of you are asking a lot of questions online at WUSA9.com, and we're going to stay online with you for the next half hour to discuss your comments and questions.
Stay with us. We'll see you on the internet.